And welcome back to part 2 of the Mead. So, just for a recap, if you have not seen the first episode, take a look at that. But in summary, each of these bottles are the exact same, recipe of mead. They all have as close to the same ingredient as I could make them. The only difference is the different water. So one of these is distilled, one of them is tap, one of them is filter tap, one of them is spring, and one of them is mineral. It's been a month since I've labeled these, and I can't remember which is which. They are numbered, but now we're just going to go through and talk about each of them. Alright, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll start off with number 1. Number 1 is still cloudy. It could be from me moving them to get here. In honesty, I'm a little bit rushed right now. I just finished working out. I just finished a shower. It's 7:38 at night right now. So I'm kind of rushing through, but I think it'll still be fine. I also have the notebook that labeled out which one is which, but I'm not going to look at this until I taste them all. Alright, number 1. Fruity. You can really taste the honey. Almost like a crispness to it, like a crisp apple. It reminds me of that. Also, I'm no sommelier, so I'm probably gonna butcher all this. So if you just want to skip to the review, go to this time right now. Okay, okay, that was interesting. This is not finished fermenting. The mouthfeel, I could still taste the carbonation going, or the yeast expelling the carbon dioxide. So that mouthfeel was very interesting. It almost tasted carbonated. And then at the back of it, you really get that honey taste too. That honey taste, and that was nice. I have no idea how to describe the front taste, and my battery's about to die. Son of a... Okay, I'm back, and I got a cup of water to clean the palate. Okay, apple crispness in the front, honeydew, rich honey in the back, carbonation feel. It's pretty nice. I enjoy it. Not sure where it ranks. Number 2. Alright, this one is just pure clear. That is really nice. I really enjoy how clear this one came out. I think this one is the clearest out of all of them. So I have no idea what this one is. Number 2. Ooh. You can smell the alcohol in this one. Hard to describe what it smells like, but it just smells like a wine. All the honey in here is gone. This is a dry wine. It's not very dry, but it's dry, especially compared to the first one. There's no taste to it. It's bland. I would say it's kind of bland. I'm not picking up any nuances to it. It tastes kind of flat, which it's interesting. I don't know what it is, but it's a bit of a letdown. I'll just say that. It's a bit of a letdown compared to what the first one was. Yeah. This one is not as enjoyable. I would prefer drinking the first one. So number 2, no, yes, we're gonna do that way. Number 3 is still cloudy, so I'm guessing fermentation is still not finished with kind of, well, they're all, looking at all of them, they're all cloudy. Number 2 is the only one that's not, so maybe number 2 had a bit more yeast. I'm not sure. But number 3. Okay, that's interesting. You know, today is just not my day. My 32 gig card just got full, so I had to get a new one. Anyway, I'm not sure how much you caught, but number 1 and number 2 are pretty much the best of both worlds for number 3. It's fruitful, it's honey-like, and it smelled like alcohol. It actually smelled like a wine. So number 3 seems to be like top dog at the moment. Yeah. Number 3 tastes a lot like number 1 and number 2 if they were mixed. There's not really that crispness to it, but there's more of that honeyness. Oh man, but alright, for number 3, I'm gonna say it's I'm gonna put it kinda in the middle. It's in between one I like and one I hate, so this one's kinda just like, yeah, it's in the middle. Number 4. I can't really smell anything for some reason. It just smells like alcohol to me. I don't know if this is the first timers, if there's like a first time or a beginner mead maker or a brew maker when they first get into this, and they just feel like they just automatically think they did something wrong because it doesn't live up to their expectation. But this one also seems just kind of disappointing. I mean, it tastes fine. It's bland. No, it's bland. No real honey taste. No crispness to it. It just reminds me a lot of like 2. So I'm not impressed. Alright, last one, number 5, and then I'm going to find out which one is which. This one reminds me a lot like number 1. It's more flavorful, not a high alcohol content, and but anyway, talking about 5, it reminds me a lot of 1. No high alcohol content, more flavor than alcohol. Okay, if you ever heard of anything like a low alcohol wine where it's almost like a beer where it maintains a lot of its flavor, that's really what this is. A premature or incredibly slow fermenting mead, I don't know. That's what it's like. This is like this 5 and number 1 tastes similar to like a beer that I would drink. Like if it's something that is sweet, it's a little bit alcoholic, it's not going to get you drunk like that, but it's just something that you can enjoy like a beer. That's what number 1 and number 5 remind me of. Alright. This is how I would rank mine. 1, 3, 5, 4, 2. Alright. I put 2 at the bottom mainly because, yes, it's high in alcohol. It tastes the most like a wine, a dry wine, but it's bland. 4, it's getting closer to, 4 had more alcohol than probably the rest of them, but it also has some more blandness to it as well. 5 kind of tastes similar to 1. It's just flavorful, but it just has low alcohol. 3, pretty much like the best of both worlds between 1 and 2. It's high in alcohol, or a little bit higher than 1, but it's still able to maintain some of that flavor. And 1, it's just very, a lot of flavor, not a lot of alcohol. So I guess number 3, in my opinion, had the best water. Now, maybe I should have waited a little bit longer between these 4 until they all looked like number 2 here, nice and clear, but I didn't really want to wait that long. Man, I waited a month for this. I wanted to try it out. I mean, you make something, you want to try it, you want to enjoy it, and especially on the experimenting part. But if I did that wrong, if I needed to wait longer for these to catch up to here, then let me know, and maybe I'll try this again in a future video. But let's find out. Let's find out who was who. Oh, here we go. Found it. Woo! All right. Okay, that's interesting. So jar number 1, the one I picked as the highest, was the distilled. So it remained more flavor of the honey rather than going to the alcohol. So that's interesting. I read online that it would make it taste more flat. But that's very flavorful. You can really taste the honey. So I guess like fermentation is just slower, or it just dies off easier. Okay, that's interesting. Number 2. Okay, I was not expecting that. So number 2 is just pure tap water. So pure tap water got the clearest, is the clearest jar, and yet it's a clear, very beautiful dry wine, and yet to me it tastes flat. It's definitely flat when you compare it to number 1, but that's interesting. Alright, so number 3, which I said was the best, was filtered. So this is the tap water that was filtered, so that makes sense. Ha! That makes sense. Yeah. Because this had more dryness, like a wine, but it also maintains its flavorfulness. All right, so that's really good. That's actually perfect, because all that means is I don't have to buy water. I can just buy our Brita filter, or the filters for the Brita, and I can use that, and I can filter all my water, and I can make beer or whatever I want just from the tap and filtering it. So that's perfect. All right. So Number 5, which is the third, is mineral. Yeah, and mineral reminds me a lot of distilled, which, that's interesting. Mineral water reminds me a lot of the distilled water. That's interesting. Huh. Alright, that's cool. I really, I really don't know what to make of it. Alright, number 4. And then number 4 is spring. I seriously wonder why the tap water just completely just got so clear, so quick, and it's so dry. So I guess if you want to talk about the environment that the yeast are living in, I guess the tap water was the best because the yeast had all the nutrients from the minerals in the water. They were able to eat all the honey, and they actually made really what a wine is supposed to be. That's really interesting. This is going to be fun. Alright, well, I'm glad you stayed and watched the video. If you like, do whatever you want to do with all the comments and like, dislike, whatever. Subscribe if you want. I don't care. I just do this for fun. I enjoy this. This was really this was really fun for me. Alright, but hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.